All right, let's dive right into this explainer and unpack the massive, kinda hidden shifts happening in the modern workplace. If you're managing a US-based workforce right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The landscape has fundamentally changed. Today, we're looking squarely from the employer's perspective at the really complex new reality of remote work, talent retention, and what it actually takes to build a thriving company culture today.
So, is corporate loyalty literally dead? It's the million-dollar question keeping executives up at night, and it gets right to the heart of current management anxieties. We all see the immediate pain points, right? The high turnover, the great resignation, those return-to-office mandates that just completely backfire. But research shows us that these are actually just symptoms of a much deeper structural shift in how workers view their relationship with you, their employer.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. 1. The transactional workplace shift. 2. Erosion of corporate loyalty. 3. Technology's psychological impact. 4. Navigating the nomad frontier. And 5. Building the modern culture.
Section 1. The transactional workplace shift.
There is this massive disconnect happening inside companies right now. It feels totally disingenuous to managers when they try so hard to champion a collaborative, we're all family here culture, while the daily reality for their remote teams is frankly pretty isolated and purely transactional. According to the Keenan Institute, this misalignment, where the employer pitches a warm community but the employee experiences a cold transaction, is popping up everywhere, especially in places like Glassdoor reviews. Firms literally just haven't found the right equilibrium yet.
And this explains so much of our current corporate friction. When companies issue forced return-to-office mandates, they're operating on a totally outdated assumption that the employer and employee are still aligned. They treat the mandate as a simple transactional demand. But the reality? The psychological buy-in from the employee just isn't there anymore. It's basically a contract held entirely by one side.
Section 2. Erosion of corporate loyalty.
Without those shared physical spaces, remote workers naturally shift their priorities. The lack of spontaneous break-room conversations, the networking you get from just bumping into people. Without that, employees start to feel like outsiders. So what happens? They shift their focus away from collective organizational goals and double down on their individual autonomy, their personal fulfillment, and their own solo productivity. You're no longer really managing a cohesive team. Actually, it's more like you're managing a sprawling network of independent operators.
Convenience and remote mobility are actively undermining the traditional incentives for staying with one company. Think about it. In the past, jumping ship to a competitor meant packing up a U-Haul on moving your family across the country. Today, in this completely boundaryless market, your top talent can accept an incredibly lucrative offer from a rival firm out in California, all while sitting in their living room in Ohio.
Section 3. Technology's psychological impact.
Now this is a foundational concept, the psychological contract. We're not talking about the piece of paper they signed when you hired them. We're talking about the unwritten expectations between you and your workforce, and our digital tools have profoundly altered these implicit beliefs.
Because we're constantly plugged in, the boundaries between work and personal life just blur into this exhausting, always-on culture. Add to that the rising silent stress of STARA, which stands for Smart Tech, AI, Robotics, and Algorithms. Employees are genuinely worrying if their jobs are going to be automated. These pressures create a perceived imbalance. Employees feel like they're giving way more than they're getting back. That fractures the psychological contract and can push workers straight toward quiet quitting or even organizational deviance.
Recent research reveals a fascinating U-shaped relationship between working from home and professional isolation. It's the ultimate too much of a good thing scenario. A little bit of remote work provides awesome flexibility and actually decreases isolation. But past a certain threshold, excessive remote work strips away all that spontaneous communication. It severely impairs team dynamics, trust erodes, and feelings of isolation skyrocket right back up.
Section 4. Navigating the nomad frontier.
The old definitions of our workforce have completely fractured. We've got hybrid workers occupying this overlapping space between traditional in-office employees and pure remote workers. But then we have the digital nomad. This model completely separates the country of employment from the country of residence. They are providing services to you, a U.S. employer, while legally living thousands of miles away.
For U.S. employers, this borderless frontier is incredible for tapping into global talent during labor shortages. But man, is it a compliance minefield. You're looking at really complex tax withholdings, cross-border social security obligations, and strict local labor laws. And perhaps the scariest risk of all is misclassifying these workers as independent contractors rather than employees.
If you get that wrong, you're looking at severe penalties, Department of Labor audits, and massive back pay.
But what if you could harness this mobility instead of just fearing the compliance audits? Take a guess at what this number represents.
This data point from the Economic Innovation Group's analysis of the Tulsa Remote program is just staggering. It turns out remote incentive programs generate an estimated $13.77 in new local labor income for every single dollar spent. It proves that when this mobility is harnessed correctly, localized economies and proactive businesses can vastly benefit from this highly skilled class of remote worker.
Section 5. Building the modern culture. We've talked a lot about the challenges, so let's move from theory to practice. To counteract the isolating effects of remote work, you simply can't rely on the physical break room to build camaraderie anymore. You have to actively and intentionally cultivate a virtual culture. This means implementing highly visible recognition, like digital shout-outs during all-hands meetings so remote workers don't feel forgotten, and maintaining relentless, totally transparent communication about their career growth. You also have to actively design working conditions that prevent that always-on burnout we talked about earlier. This means laying down the law on availability times, like absolutely no Slack messages expected after 6 p.m. It means establishing strict digital meeting etiquette, maybe even bringing in internal mediators for team friction, and making sure your IT support is completely top-notch so random software glitches don't compound their daily frustration. On the logistical side, you absolutely have to take the friction out of compliance. A major recommendation for navigating this nomad frontier is to establish a single, unified online portal that integrates all those scary tax, immigration, and labor law issues. Ensuring your talent actually feels supported rather than heavily burdened by the logistical complexities of their setup goes a really long way in repairing that psychological contract. Look, the transactional shift in the workplace, it's here to stay. The boundaryless job market is our new reality. But the employers who win the war for talent aren't going to be the ones demanding a return to the past. The winners will be the ones who balance the demand for flexibility with a renewed, digitally native sense of belonging and real structural support. So the question I'll leave you with is this: how will you reimagine loyalty for your workforce?